Imagine a country railway station 100 years ago. As the Northern Express heralds the dawning of a fine summer's day, the station master sleeps peacefully in his bed. This is the story of how Station Master Podifect was almost undone by a king, a mouse, and a clock. From the first ring of his alarm clock to the last chime of the church bell at midnight, clocks rule Mr. Podifact's life. On this auspicious day, clocks are particularly important at Juniper Junction.
Soon be time to pick my prize tomato.
Just smell that air. Farmer Brown's cow with just a hint of railway smoke.
Time Buttercup of milk now. Poor old Buttercup.
Mr. Podifact always enters the station master's office at exactly 20 to 6. Punctuality is his watchword. My prize roses grown especially for this great day. A very good day to your majesty.
Porter Harris arrives soon after.
Come in, Porter Harris. Good morning, Mr. Podifact, sir. It's a lovely day. Indeed it is, Porter Harris, and a great day for Juniper Junction. Is it really true that the royal train will be passing through at exactly 3 o'clock? Yes, Porter Harris, in exactly 9¼ hours' time. Though I doubt we shall actually see His Majesty. After all, the royal train will be travelling at 40 miles an hour. Here is a special timetable. The King's train must on no account be delayed. It looks very busy, sir. Our timing will need to be accurate. Certainly, Porter Harris. All station clocks must be set to London time. Don't worry, sir. I'll clear it up later. But the London train should be arriving at any moment.
Of course. I'll meet the train as usual and set my watch by the guard.
Thank you, sir. Better be getting along. As befitting his status, Mr. Podifact always wears his bowler hat to meet the London train. High in the signal box at the end of platform 2, Signalman Jones is busy preparing for the day ahead. Signalman Jones is not in fact the usual Signalman Jones. The usual Signalman Jones is at home suffering with severe lumbago. This Signalman Jones is Mrs. Jones, his wife.
I think that's the London train, Ma. Better get on then, Bronwyn. Let me do the signals, Ma.
The mighty London Express cannot enter the station until little Bronwyn Jones has given it permission. Meanwhile, Not everyone shares Mr. Potifact's anxiety about time. At the other end of the platform, perched high atop the downstarter signal, a tawny owl dozes contentedly in the warm morning sun and dreams of juicy mice.
Juniper Junction! This is Juniper Junction! Change here for Chadworth Penstone! Every morning, Mr. Potifact checks his watch with the guard on the first train from London.
Morning, station master.
Good morning, guard. How stands the time in London?
This is London time, Mr. Potifact.
The guard's watch had been set to the clock in the London station, and the clock in the London station had been set to the chimes of Big Ben itself.
Thank you, guard.
Which lever shall I pull, Ma? Pull off the down starter, Bronwen?
Right away!
I don't think that guard takes Mr. Potifact seriously, Bronwen.
Porter Harris, I wish to address the station staff. Yes, sir. Please assemble Signalman Jones and young Mr. Oak outside my office at 6:30. Young Mr. Oak was going around the station turning out the platform lamps. Young Mr. Oak was not young. He was over 90 years old and had worked on the railway ever since George Stephenson had invented the rocket. It's the last lamp saint until lighting up time tonight. I wonder how my station master's hat got to be lying on the floor. Mr. Potifact corrected his office clock to London time. Accuracy of the timepiece is my watchword. And how are you today, young Bronwyn Jones?
Very well, thank you, young Mr. Oak.
Young Mr. Oak had actually retired from the railway over 20 years ago, but no one had the heart to send him away. Morning, staff.
Good morning, Mr. Potifact.
What have you got there, Porter Harris? Fresh eggs for the big London shops, young Mr. Oak. Gentlemen, the Royal train will be passing through this afternoon at exactly 3 o'clock. Bronwyn, please tell your mother to ensure that the line is kept clear. There must be no delay at Juniper Junction.
Yes, Mr. Potifact. Is it the real King's train?
Aye, Bronwyn. The very same king as sits on his big throne in London.
Oh,
Porter Harris, my office clock is now correct to London time. Please ensure that all other station clocks are adjusted accordingly. Just as soon as I've moved these boxes, sir. Young Mr. Oak, please ensure that the platforms are clean and free of litter. You never know. His Majesty may have occasion to glance out of his royal window. Yes, sir. And shall I dust your office as usual, Mr. Potifact? If you please, young Mr. Oak. Well, blow me down. As the Treadworth Penstone local scurries through platform 1, the office mouse is trying on Mr. Potifact's bowler hat. Hickory dickory dock, the mouse ran up the clock. The mouse fell down and broke his crown. Hickory dickory dock. Mrs. Jones sets the signals for the morning goods train, which will leave some wagons in Juniper Junction station yard. Signalman Jones records every train movement in the signal box ledger. The 8 o'clock goods train brings wagons and vans from all over the country. Some carry coal from the mines, some carry milk from the farms, some carry steel from the foundries. One van is bringing shortbread all the way from Scotland, and some of it is from Mrs. Golightly's refreshment room.
Hello, Porter Harris.
Morning, Mrs. Golightly. Your shortbread has arrived. It's a bit wobbly. Can I put it on the counter?
Thank you, Porter Harris.
Have you heard about the king?
No. What's he been up to?
Well, he's off on his holidays today, and his train's coming through Juniper Junction at 3 o'clock. Mr. Pontifex thinks we might catch sight of him as he sails through.
Oh, really? Is that all?
Aren't you excited to think you might see him?
Oh, I'm too busy to worry about kings. I've got no end of work to do here. Sweeping up, making some more cakes, cleaning the silver, seeing to 11s, changing the beer barrel, polish the tables. Porter Harris, have you pinched my chocolate eclair?
What makes you think that, Mrs. Golightly?
A chocolatey moustache, perhaps. How's Mr. Poddyfat today?
Oh, very anxious about the king's train, Mrs. Golightly. Of course, I has to be extra special careful with the clock job today.
That looks a bit better.
Just think, if there was any sort of an hold-up with the king himself hurtling through the station, we'd all lose our jobs.
Not with you looking after the clocks, Porter Harris. Why, I've never heard of such a thing. What could possibly go wrong?
Oh, absolutely nothing, I'm sure. But you can't be too careful.
Still a bit sticky, Porter Harris.
Thank you, Mrs. Golightly. Well, I'd better be getting off to Mr. Pontifac's office and start checking the clock. There's an unusual silence in the office. Young Mr. Oak is so busy dusting he hasn't realised that the important office clock has stopped. I just don't understand these newfangled machines. Don't know what the world's coming to. Cleaning vigorously, young Mr. Oak starts the clock again without noticing. Now Mr. Pontifac's clock, so carefully set to London time, is running 10 minutes slow. Hello, young Mr. Oak. Do you know, my old watch is 10 minutes fast. Well, would you believe it, young Mr. Oak? Mine is too. I just reset it. What a good job you checked it, Porter Harris. Aye, today of all days. What a shame that untidy wagons will be spottling up the sidings when the king passes through. Hello, sir. Just off to correct the station clocks. Very good, Porter Harris. Accuracy of the timepiece is my watchword. Ethel's uncoupled now. Hello, young Cyril. Porter Harris, captain of the Juniper cricket team. And I hear they've made you captain of Chadworth Penstone. How are you, young Cyril? Enjoying the summer holidays?
Yes, I'm learning how to be a engine driver. What's your Bronwyn?
Jump up on the footplate, Potter, and we can talk cricket while we run round the train. Do you know I had Lloyd George in my cab once?
Really? I think he knew my father.
Captain Simpkins owns the Juniper Light Railway. It runs from Juniper Junction to Chadworth Penstone, and he likes nothing better than to drive the train himself. Ethel is the only engine on the line. Been practising your spin bowling then, Porter Harris. Don't forget, sir, I got you out for a duck last year. How could I forget? Captain Simpkins and Porter Harris are great cricketing rivals. When their two villages play each other, the matches are very competitive. Let's wait and see till Sunday. I won't fall for your clever tricks again this year. During the school holidays, young Cyril Simpkins loves to help his father by working as the fireman on Ethel. To him, it's the best train set in the world. Don't be late for the match, Porter Harris. We'll try not to be, sir. But we are travelling to Chadworth Penstone on your train. Aha, then I'll see that it runs on time. Well, must get on. The Juniper Light Railway is never late. Actually, sir, you're 10 minutes early. As Juniper Junction settles to its daily routine, the little station basks in the warm summer sunshine. Tawny Owl dozes under a sky of cloudless duck-egg blue. Shortly after 11 o'clock, the Holiday Express rushes through Platform 1, and Mrs. Golightly's hot water urn bubbles in readiness for the mid-morning cup of tea. Would you believe it, Mrs. Golightly? The Sunny South Special went through 10 minutes early.
Well, I know. Cup of tea, Porter Harris?
Are ye all ready for the King, Mrs. Golightly?
Well, I shan't see him. I'll be busy in yer.
You should watch him go through. I seen the old Queen once. God rest her soul.
Was it the real old Queen?
Aye, Bronwyn. I was working somewhere up the line when Her Majesty's train was held up unwontedly. It was late June.
Well, I never, young Mr. Oak. Where was that?
Let me see now. Oh, yes, I remember. Addlestrop.
Well, the King's train certainly won't be held up at Juniper Junction today. Mr. Poddyfat would never live it down.
That'll be the Northampton Flyer. I'll take Mr. Poddyfat a cup of tea. He might be worrying about the King's train.
Inside his office, Mr. Podifact is learning how to work his new machine for station announcements. I wonder.
Mind the gap. Mind the gap.
Blow me down.
Mind the gap. 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 Mind the gap.
Well, I'm never, Mr. Podifact. A talking machine. Yes, Lord Harris. The white heat of the technological revolution has come to Juniper Junction.
Mind the gap.
Does it say anything else, Mr. Podifact? It would appear not, Lord Harris. At Juniper Junction, the clocks move slowly on. All is quiet except for the passing of trains. And no one has noticed that the trains seem to be running 10 minutes early. In the middle of the afternoon, the local train returns to Juniper Junction. And because the signal box clock is 10 minutes slow, Mrs. Jones doesn't drop the signal at the end of platform 2. Ethel has to wait there. The king is looking forward to his seaside holiday and is anxious to get there in time for a paddle.
Thank you, Porter Harris. Are we going to watch for the King's train now?
Not quite yet, Bronwyn. It's not due for 10 minutes.
Good afternoon, sir.
Please, could I have some thinly sliced bread and butter?
But I think I can hear it now. I don't think the station clocks are right.
What do you mean, Bronwyn? I checked them with London time this morning, and they were all 10 minutes fast. So I put them all back.
Well, from the signal box, I can see the church clock, and it shows 10 minutes later than the station clocks.
Oh, heck. Mrs. Jones, stands the church clock at 10 to 3?
And is there honey still for tea, Mrs. Golightly?
Certainly, Mr. Brooke. How's the poetry coming on? No, Porter Harris. The church clock shows 3 o'clock. And that's the King's train. I'm going to have to stop it because Ethel's in the way.
Oh, heck. We're in for it now.
Oh, kippers and custard. Let's run away and hide. The King's train will pass in 8 minutes. I shall prepare my talking machine. There's always a chance that it may attract the royal ear. By the Lord Harry, we're in the way of the royal train. What train can this be? Mercy, 'tis the King's train. Get that rusty old crate off my shiny rails. How dare you call my Ethel a rusty old crate? Do you know who I am? Oh, but hang on and I'll find out for you. What shall I do? Start the gramophone.
Mind's the gap. Mind's the gap.
And which gap, pray, are we to mind? Station master, the machinery of state has been disrupted. Shameful! We are unclear as to your precise functions, station master. We would have thought that some explanation for this extraordinary delay might be forthcoming. Possibly coupled with a brief, yet meaningful apology.
Excuse me, Mr. King. Would you like a cup of tea?
A cup of tea?
A nice cup of tea, Mr. King?
A nice cup of tea?
What a charming child, Your Majesty. Perhaps a mild Darjeeling would provide a pleasant break in our journey.
Indeed. A good suggestion, Prince Ranjit. And who might you be, my dear?
I'm Bronwyn Jones, Mr. King.
Well, Bronwyn, does this railway station have facilities for making tea?
Oh, yes, Mr. King. Mrs. Golightly has the best refreshment room in England.
Buns?
Lovely buns.
Then let us go and find Mrs. Golightly. And perhaps she would also have a cup of tea for my good friend, Prince Ranjit.
Splendid. Tiffin. A very good afternoon to you, Princess.
Oh, I'm not a princess. Only a signalman's daughter.
To me, my dear, you are the most beautiful princess. And I would be charmed if you would accompany His Royal Highness and me to the refreshment room. Mind the gap. Mind the gap. Hello, Mouse. I'm prostrate with dismal. I'm afraid everything has gone wrong. I will surely lose my job.
Not all angels have wings. Sometimes they appear as small people with kind hearts.
Are you coming for a cup of tea, Mr. Bodyfact? I'm sure the king was very sorry he was cross.
Thank you, Bronwyn. You are very kind.
So that's tea for two, Mrs. Golightly. And could I trouble you for that cream horn?
I'm afraid not, Your Majesty. I always keeps one back for the guard of the London train. He does so enjoy them.
Oh, in that case, a sweet flapjack would be splendid. And my good friend Prince Ranjit will have an iced bun. Prince Ranjit of Jubblepore? Not the Prince Ranjit of Jubblepore, Your Majesty. The finest spin bowler in the world. The very same, my good man. Good afternoon.
Shall I straighten your tie, Mr. Poddyfact?
Thank you, Bronwyn. So, you enjoy cricket, Potter? Yes, sir. In fact, I'm captain of the Juniper Village First 11. Splendid. Batsman or bowler? Bowler, sir. I don't suppose you could divulge the secret of your in-swinging spinning off break? I'm afraid not. I learnt it from a Chinaman. But I might be able to demonstrate it to you. The secret, you see, is in the way you grip the ball. Stand back, everyone. I shall show you only once.
Oh, poor Mr. Poddyfact. Please don't throw buns at Mr. Poddyfact. He didn't mean to stop your train, and he's such a nice man.
Of course not. Please accept our most sincere apologies, Station Master. I was attempting to demonstrate my bowling action. Forgive our misdirected enthusiasm, Station Master, and please join us in a cup of tea. I would be greatly honoured, Your Majesty. Thank you. And I'm sure that the little princess would like a ginger beer. Had Bronwyn really just told off the most important person in the British Empire? It's tea time for everyone except Signalman Jones, who must stay at her post in the signal box and clear the line for the royal train. So, you're the signal's daughter, young Bronwyn.
Yes, Mr. King.
Are you ever allowed to pull a lever, Bronwyn?
Oh, yes, Mr. King, especially when my mamma is working the box as she is today.
Would you like to know a secret about His Majesty, little princess? He has always dreamed of working a signal box lever.
My ma would let you, Mr. King.
Do you really think she would, young Bronwyn?
Oh, yes. Shall we go and see her now?
May we really? How serendipitous. Jaunt up the platform a bit, driver. Been here for hours. The royal train's blocked the down line. Apparently they're diverting everything via Bordsley Junction. And it's taking 4.5 hours to get from Birmingham to Coventry. I still cannot believe that driver called our Ethel a rusty old crate.
To start your train, Your Majesty, you need to pull off the down starter signal.
Oh, good. Can I do it now?
Oh, certainly not. Your train would leave you behind.
Ah.
However, Your Majesty, when everyone is on the train, you can pull off the lever, then run and jump on board.
What a splendid wheeze, Mrs. Jones. I'll pull it now.
One moment, Your Majesty. Bronwyn, run down to the platform and make sure everyone is ready to go.
Yes, Ma.
There was a breathless hush in the close. I was the last man in and 10 to win. The captain said to me, play up, and play the game. What happened, sir? I was out second ball.
Mr. Poddyfact, the king is going to start his train any minute.
Bless me. Better get all aboard then. If you please, Your Highness. Right away, Station Master. Good luck with the match on Saturday, Porter. Thank you, Your Highness. I'm so proud to have met you.
Don't touch the lever without the cloth, Your Majesty. Your sweaty hands will make my handle rusty.
Well, I am getting quite excited, Mrs. Jones.
You hold the lever like this. and pull back steadily, like this.
Way hey! Farewell, Mrs. Jones. And for you, my little princess, a small gift for a delightful lady.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Your station is a credit to you, station master. It reminds me of my summer house at Rawalpindi.
Your Highness.
This is for you. I'm sure you will enjoy it more than Mind the Gap.
Thank you, Your Majesty.
Well, station master, I hope the rest of our holiday is this diverting.
Stand clear of the train, please.
Goodbye, and thank you all for a charming afternoon.
King at Juniper Junction? Who'd have thought it?
Oh, I quite like that, Prince Ranjit.
Well, time I got me lamps lit.
And I've got crates to shift.
Juniper Junction felt strangely empty when the royal visitors had gone. Let's go home, son. Had the day been a triumph or a disaster? Mr. Podifact didn't know what to think. It was not always so eventful at Juniper Junction. Life settled back to its daily routine, with trains coming and going. Young Mr. Oak never retired, and eventually became the oldest lamplighter in England. He never missed his cosy chat and mid-morning cup of tea. Mrs. Golightly's buns were sold by royal appointment. Mrs. Jones continued to work the signal box, and Bronwyn returned to the things that she had always loved. Mrs. Golightly often talked about the King's visit, but for some reason Mr. Podifact never mentioned it. All remained constant at the little station. But in 1914 peace was shattered, and the world and Juniper Junction were to change forever.